amongst leadership in other groups. Well, there are many more feathers to Marcy's hat. It was only the limited few that I could count. And well, I'm looking forward to hearing from you about Kenya and the future it holds with regards to mediation. Thank you for joining in, Marcy. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. And I would like, first of all, to begin this panel by congratulating our dear Honorable Justice Iman and the entire family for AAMA family for organizing this conference, especially in these COVID-19 times. Last year, we had a very lovely inaugural conference by the beach in Dar es Salaam, and I was really looking forward to coming to Dhaka. But well, in these times, nonetheless, we are privileged. At least we have a conference, however, albeit virtually. And I'm happy to see some of my friends that I met for the first time last year at the inaugural conference in Dar es Salaam. And Justice Lady Alwoch has basically done a lot of presentation and she's my senior, so she's probably said most of the things I was going to say. Nonetheless, I cannot fall my hand, as they say. I have to say something. Now, she's already highlighted the issues of court annexed mediation programs, and currently the registrars are holding training, as she said, in terms of familiarizing Kenyan mediators under the court annexed mediation program in terms of now moving to the next stage, which is virtual. Because as it is right now, Kenyan courts in other matters are already doing virtual proceedings. In terms of Kenya's new developments, there's a mediation bill that is now open to the public for public participation. The thing with the mediation bill is that it basically seeks to legislate mediation in Kenya so that there will be a committee and they will be the ones accrediting the mediators who want to get on panels and all that. Unfortunately, though, the mediation community, at least from the public participation bills that I've seen, has had issues in terms of saying that we should not legislate mediation, apart from the guidelines that were given under court, because court annexed mediation is a process of the court. Now, when you want to, I'd say, legislate mediation in Kenya, then it removes the informality from the process, because in that bill, there are actually penalties for things and all that. So parties are not, basically mediation practitioners are not very comfortable with some provisions in that bill, but it is open for public participation, and we hope that between the mediation practitioners and the organizations here, that the insights that we have given can be used to amend those issues that mediation practitioners have an issue with. And on my, from my own reading of the bill, it basically mirrors what the court annexed mediation program already is about. There's a mediation accreditation committee, there's a code of conduct for mediators. The only different thing is that now it brings in the state and also penalties. As to the issue of penalties, I think the issue of confidentiality needs to have a way, because in that bill, a mediator who's found, I'd say, culpable in issues of confidentiality and impartiality is actually liable for to be imprisoned or get a fine of about $20,000. So maybe, I don't know about criminalizing such actions, but I feel that the issues of confidentiality need to be taken seriously, whether or not the bill passes. Now, another development we have in Kenya is that, like, next week, the Chief Justice of Kenya, Honorable Justice Maraga, is going to launch what is it called? It's a alternative justice system. In Kenya, one thing you have to realize is that as Justice Alwoch said, in terms of Article 159, alternative dispute resolution methods are actually allowed by the Constitution. And this alternative, apart from mediation, even traditional dispute resolution mechanisms, because one thing you have to understand is that Kenya has a strong culture amongst its tribes. That is why you find in tribes such as, I'll say the northeastern part of Kenya, basically it's the Kushites, the ones who most of them subscribe to the Islam religion. Even disputes around murder, sexual offenses, previously, when in their traditional setting, used to be settled by the clans because it's a clan system. And the judiciary of Kenya, actually in criminal offenses, even in murder cases, has allowed, courtesy of Article 159 of the Constitution, under the traditional justice resolution systems, it has actually allowed families to settle murder And capital offenses, in Kenya, capital offenses, the highest penalty is death. And they've allowed traditional justice systems to be used to resolve those disputes, so that a matter including involving a murder has been referred back to the community, because some of these people say, well, you've killed our person, and this other, say the accused person, the most they'll get is death penalty. And in Kenya, death penalty nowadays, no one gets killed, so they just serve life imprisonment. So that now they are like, let us go to the traditional dispute resolution mechanism, and then you just pay us like you'd have paid us 100 years ago. Give us 5 camels, 10 goats, whatever. Because either way, even if you're held in a prison for the rest of your life, we will not get our person back. So that is something that is recognized. And in line with that, the judiciary of Kenya, of course, set up an alternative justice system, I'd say committee, to look into how the judiciary can formalize sort of these traditional dispute resolution mechanisms, because that is allowed in Kenya under the constitution. So that is also not, I'd say, contrary to or repugnant to the law of the land. And in line with that, the Chief Justice next week is launching a policy to inculcate, it's called an alternative justice system policy. Already there's a court annexed mediation program. This alternative justice system looks at 2 things. 1, arbitration mediation in terms of land matters, because the backlog in most of Kenyan courts, many Kenyan courts, I'll not say most, there are issues of land. And in Kenya, land is seen as the gold. People have killed each other over land, and there's a lot of backlog in terms of land matters. So that the Chief Justice is launching a policy so that all land matters can be referred to arbitration mediation. Secondly, he's also launching the policy on a technology platform, so that moving forward, there's also going to be the adoption of technological ways of resolving disputes, so that whether it's a land matter or whatever other dispute, you can actually use technology in light of this pandemic. Now, quickly, on the future of ADR in Kenya, and I'll restrict myself to mediation. Increasingly, Kenyans are learning that technology is a new future, so that there's a lot of consumer matters. And you find that in consumer matters, there's always consumer domain issues of, I bought something off Jumia online or Amazon, but now the Kenyan apps. So that increasingly there's a need and there's an interest, high interest in IP mediation, because you see in that kind of mediation, no, you don't know the parties, they file their matter, you're picked off the system, you resolve, you give your finding or whatever, and then you move. So whether it be it arbitration or mediation, that is a lot. And now in these COVID-19 times, lawyers, courtesy of them not having the issue of basically the advantage of going to court to argue matters and having tapped into online mediation, online virtual, more or less proceedings, they are realizing that these are actually tedious processes. So many lawyers, and I can sit here and say, so many lawyers call me, so many lawyers call the organizations, and many of them right now want to learn about mediation, because they realize online courts right now, it's there, but it's not as efficient. So they are like, if there's a way we can just mediate our disputes. So there's a lot of interest from the legal community in Kenya. Judges also right now, because they also are realizing that they need to equip themselves with skills to remove some matters from court and advise. But then for them to advise, they need training. And there also is a lot of interest in terms of new areas of mediation, because previously in Kenya, mediation was basically civil, commercial, and family matters. But then now, even in medical malpractice suits, I've had conversations and with the medical, I'd say, board, the medical dentist and practitioners boards, and they're looking to issues of how can we inculcate mediation as part of our policy, so that when we are sued, or one of us is sued, or a matter comes before us, how can we, first of all, refer the matter to mediation? Also, the insurance community in these COVID-19 times, they are getting a lot of claims from people. So yeah, there's that. And I think the future is bright, and I agree with the previous speaker who said that it's no longer the future. Mediation is here with us. It's not the future. It's happening. So you get on it and just run with it. And I look forward to